All right, I know, first thing in the morning, front headlock, let's go. So what we're gonna do in this first game, guys, we're gonna start in the front headlock situation. So the front headlock situation is any situation where we're starting facing our partner with their head trapped underneath our body. Now I'm gonna give you a specific hand placement I want you to start with. We'll talk about why after the game. So we're gonna start with one of our hands underneath our opponent's chin. Other hand anywhere on the other side of your partner's body, it does not matter. Now, in this first game, your only job, top player, is to keep your hands open. At no time can you close your hands. You can move them anywhere around your partner's body that you would like, but your job is to keep your hands open, stay on top of your opponent, and I want you to try to keep their hands on the mat, okay? Do not let them take their hands off the mat. Bottom player, your job is to try to get to your feet and disconnect the connections from your hands, pull your head free. That's it. I don't want to see you tackling each other, no shooting double legs. All I want you to do is get to your feet, take your hands off the mat, and remove the connections. Okay, and just one more time for the attacking player. Connections stay open. Continuously try to keep your opponent on their hands. Just for your mind, in case you ask, if they stand and their hand comes off the mat, keep trying to put their hands down if they rise. You must stay in front of them. You can't go behind. There is no win condition for the top player, just the bottom. If bottom player clears head, change top to bottom, start again. Clear? You guys ready? Let's go, 1, 2, 3. Just keep your hands open, it's all I ask. Connect your partner with open hands, don't close your hands. You can use your hands however you like, just don't close them. And don't try to be smooth, don't try to be right, just try to be effective. Be competitive with this small situation, keep your partner down. Where's homie Joey? Good, move your partner, really work to stay there. Explore the space, y'all, really work to get the job done. Oh shit, sorry guys, sorry.
He's told me he's never been to a Jiu-Jitsu event where everything actually started and ran on time. He's like, that's why I put Greg first.
Started, lady talk, I talk, ask question, got game, all in 4 minutes. It's so easy, guys. Gotta try harder.
Figure it out.
Good.
So is that a rental or you guys drive it?
Good. Keep fighting for it. Keep fighting for it. Good. Good job. Don't be afraid to adjust your position and movement. Try to keep, yeah, good. Try to keep his hands down. Very good. You can even, don't feel like you have to keep your head there. If you need to change, yeah. Good, very good, yeah. Move wherever you think you feel like you need to. Yes, good. Keep him under you, beautiful job, beautiful job. Yes, 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 yes. Great choice, keep his head under you, good. Aye.
Joey was like, how do you ever do a front headlock in the morning? I would have asked like a philosophical question. I had to rant for 15 minutes about it.
He's like, wait a minute. Do you think the brain is functional when you're doing these activities, or is it just the relationship between you and the environment?
The degree of covering someone's hips with your face.
Does the angle matter? Right. What if it's here but not here?
It's the top of my head and not my mouth.
Yes. Yes, sir.
When you show the demonstration, can you explain like maybe what level of game this is? Like before you say it, like is this a fundamentals level? Is this
intermediate? Great question. I got you.
It's kind of hard to see where this would fall into.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Time. Relax, guys. Take a break. All right, so before we go further into this to try to develop something from the front headlock, we're going to talk about this game itself and the idea of levels of games or what we consider like something fundamental or not. So what we want to understand is when we say fundamental, there's no such thing as a fundamental movement, all right? What separates something fundamental versus something advanced is just the simplicity to complexity of the thing. The more simple something is, and it's something you need to do to be able to play the game, we'll call that fundamental, right? So let's imagine that the most fundamental thing for top position would just be stay on top and hold your partner down. Because if you want to learn how to play a game that has a top position, but you can't stay on top, that means you don't have the foundational behavior that is required for all top position things to occur. So the most fundamental thing about top position is staying on top and holding your partner down. So essentially, this game is a fundamental game because what we're learning is how to stay on top and hold our partner down from the front headlock situation. And we're guiding the learning of that behavior through a task focus of keep your partner's hands on the mat. Do you see what I'm saying? You have an effect that you're trying to produce in a specific situation based on behaviors that are required to build further behavior from the situation. All right, so it's essentially fundamental. Just because there's lots of movement, just because you're tired, doesn't mean it's hard. It's just maybe some of you guys are out of shape and shit. All right, and fighting is effortful and it's difficult and it feels tough. All right, but does that answer your question, sir? Does that come to you? Yeah? Okay. So now let's add a little bit to the game, and we're going to try to ultimately build into something that would look like a front strangle. Okay, now, in this next game, we're going to have two new tasks. So we're going to keep the foundational one, stay on top, hold your partner down by keeping their hands on the mat. Okay, we're still going to start with open hands, but this time the new task is to get your hands closed. All right, now, I'm going to give you a kind of a specific thing here. When you close your hands, I want you to close your hands anywhere around your opponent, however it feels comfortable to you, in any way. But specifically, I want you to trap their head and arm together, okay? You can connect your hands to keep your partner's hands on the mat, but the goal is to take the head and arm and trap together by connecting your hands anywhere around it. Anywhere, any way. Can you guys see what I'm asking you to do? All right, now, the final task, okay, what's gonna win you the game is I want you to try to make your partner's back touch the mat, okay? So, after you connect your hands, what I mean by make your partner's back touch the mat is literally, I want you to try to take their back, and I want you to make it touch the mat any way that you can. If they touch and you have your hands connected, you win. What I showed you is wrong. You can't even do that, so don't copy me. All right? Do you guys understand what I'm asking you to do? Yes, sir.
Were you allowed to strip hands as the bottom guy, like pull the chin strap?
There were 0 constraints on the bottom player. What was your task? Stand up and disconnect. Do that. Okay? Look, right, wrong, doesn't matter. Effective, get the job done. What's the task? Any way you can, right? Okay, don't be afraid just to fucking work, okay? There's no right, no one's watching you. There's no Jesus in here. Let's go, 1, 2, 3. Does that satisfy your curiosity?
It added another question. So at what point does the game become an intermediate? So you have your foundations class and then you have your intermediate. So at what point does it cross over into that intermediate?
Well, really the line is gray because what we're talking about is the ability of individuals. Mm-hmm. So some individuals might have the initial ability to focus on multiple tasks at once and complexity might not be hard for them. Mm-hmm. So you could challenge it with more complex tasks. But maybe some players might need to have just one thing to focus on. Mm-hmm. So what we're thinking about is as far as going from a scale from beginner to advanced would be complexity. Mm-hmm. So when I design a game, I might start just simply, no matter who's in the room, hey, it's one task, one simple task. So it would be foundational.
Like this.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And now this you could consider an intermediate game. Again, I don't know the line. Nice, geez. But think about what you're doing. You're doing multiple things now, which requires more of you. Now, a skilled player with something built, this would be easy for them. But someone that's never done anything like this could be difficult for them.
Okay. So then for your classes, how do you determine what you're teaching in the foundational versus what you're teaching in your intermediate classes?
Simplicity. I just stay simple in the foundations class. I imagine if I didn't know what Jiu-Jitsu was, what would I have to do to start learning how to play the game? The game, not get good at anything, but just what do I have to do to start playing? How can I recognize where I am and where I'm going?
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Cool, man. Yeah, if you have more questions, write them down as they come along, and I'll keep coming to make sure
I've got a lot of them.
Yeah, they're good questions too, man.
So I'm a gym owner, and I have some IP people and I have some ecological people, and I'm the decision maker. So I'm trying to figure out how do we integrate this in, because the more I'm looking at watching videos, I see the value in it, but I also have these different things.
Sure.
I'm sure there are a lot of people that are in this kind of situation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just here to learn.
Cool, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, brother.
That sometimes the chains in our lives are really moving, and that's what.
Yeah, break his connections, break his connections. Very good. Beautiful job. Yeah, girl after my own heart. Very good. Beautiful, beautiful. Good choice, sir. Good choice, good choice. Good choice. Good.
Some of these questions, and like someone asked on the Discord this morning too, but like people have a misunderstanding that they think you're neglecting the bottom player because their task is always so simple.
Yeah.
Like, can you talk about that? Like,
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
Freedom be hard for some people.
They are. They want to be controlled. Like, please put the chains on.
I heard you say once, by any means necessary.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I throw in now, and
For sure.
it stopped all of that.
Yeah, I mean,
So, it's like
because right now, what did she ask? See, no one puts everything together. I want to get better at front strangles. Can you help me? Absolutely. So we're designing games to help someone learn the behavior of what would take the conditions present in front strangles. So what we're doing is giving the bottom player a level of resistance where they're going to make it difficult for them to do that. But we're not trying to teach them to solve the strangle problem wholly, because it hasn't come out yet. But we're giving them a foundational way to solve anything that's going to happen, which is get up, brace, connection, get your head free.
So like yesterday when you're like, get your hands, knees, and feet back in front of you and get to seated.
Yeah.
To me, that's like the same thing as the top person just staying on top of holding you down.
That's exactly right.
Right.
Yep, you see it. That's exactly right.
But they think that because it doesn't change from game to game, you're not constraining the bottom player or giving them a task to escape.
Right. Well, because the thing is all the front strangle things are going to have a central problem, and it's going to be hold them down, stay on top, because it's foundational. So that's why they're repeatedly feeling that. But what's happening is, as I change the task, the sensation of how much resistance is also going to change.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But that's what I'm saying. They're thinking that the bottom player's task has to change also. And it's really
No, it doesn't. Yeah. But I'm curious about why they think that.
because it's so simple.
Because it's so simple.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do a 37-step one next time. They'll like that one better. Time, guys, take a break. All right, guys, real quick, let me talk at you while you're catching your breath. We're gonna, I think, do one more here, then we're gonna give someone else a question, okay? Give someone else a turn. Now, a couple small things. So one, as you notice, I'm not coming around correcting anybody, but largely most of you guys are staying right on task and you're engaging with each other, which is the most important thing. When we first learn a new behavior, I don't care about right, wrong, this, that, or the other thing. I want you guys to mess around, play, grab, move each other, give it a sense for what's happening. But what I would urge is that if there is an intention set, man, really dive deep on that intention. Really commit yourself to trying to accomplish that task. Because if you think about it, skill is directly connected to intention. What we mean by that is, let's imagine that there was a movement pattern that had a 3-step, 4-step process. And let's say the initial intention was to do something as simple as keep your opponent's hand on the mat. But you didn't have enough focus in your training session to do that simple thing. How would you be able to do the next things it required? So if we can't even intend to do something simple like focus long enough to just keep someone's hands on the mat, how the hell are we going to do something more complex when the time arises? If we can't intend to do something small, again, how can we intend to do something complex? So what we're also working on too is setting an intention and focusing on it. That itself is a skill. And you're practicing that as you guys try to accomplish these tasks. All right? So again, let that task be your guide. Just don't think about anything else. Just get the fucking work done. Okay? Something comes out of it eventually. The last piece is just going to be something super simple. And now I'm going to constrain you into one area, one type of strangle. So just to tell you a little bit now, because we're at a seminar and at my school, we try to classify things just so we have a clear view on what we might want to do and future situations where we're trying to get strangulation to happen from here. There are two types. Okay? We call them naked or arm in. So naked is when there's nothing else in between the strangle mechanism and the neck. So a guillotine, for example, right? It's naked because if I go all the way around, there's nothing else. I'm using my entire arm to make the strangle happen. Okay, just like a rear strangle, stuff like that. Then we have arm-in variations. Arm-in variations are when the arm is included in the compression process. All right? So I'm just telling you, I'm guiding you guys to arm-in variations. All right? So this last task is going to help us accomplish this end. Now here's the deal. Everything stays the same. But the last thing that I want you to do is I want you to put anything behind your partner's elbow, anything. I want you to have connected hands. As you are doing or when you destabilize them to their back, like during the whole process, try to get behind the elbow of the arm you have trapped. And I just want you to think about this. Squeeze everything together for as long as you can until you get tired and your partner gets out or they tap. Okay, don't worry about specifics, all right? So again, connect hands. We want to trap head and arm together. Don't forget that task. While staying on top and hold your partner down. We're trying to put our opponent on their back. And during that process, just freeze. At any time, we're trying to get behind the elbow. And we're just squeezing until we think we get enough to make our partner tap. Any way that you can. I don't care how you approach the problem. Hold their hands down, connect hands, put them on their back, get behind the elbow, and compress until they either get out or you make them tap. Yes, sir?
In that one, you didn't have him on his back before you were pressing, so.
Yeah, okay. I was trying to put him on his back. He was resisting me. We'll talk about degree of functionality after this, okay? But what I mean is you're trying to do this all at once, but there's really no order. Things happen in between the two absolutes, not on their back and on their back. Okay? And strangulation can happen in this wide degree of functionality. But still, everything you do is towards those effects that you're trying to have on your opponent. Okay? And you may win in the process of trying to achieve those outcomes. Bottom guy, still the same thing. Stand up, take your hands off the mat, separate, get your head free. All right? Let's give it a shot, guys. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you're welcome, sir. Good. Keep putting stuff behind his elbow. Keep putting stuff behind his elbow. Yeah, get tight, get real tight. Good. Readjust. His hands are off. Let's get those hands on that mat. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Good. You guys are good. You're good. Good. Keep your head under you, sir. Good. Very good. Very good. Very good. You must be watching Noah. So you must be watching Noah. Very good. Stay behind her elbow. Good. Stay behind her elbow. Now start making things tight. Good. So keep making things tight. Very good, sir. Just search that space and keep trying to compress. Try angle, try connection, try movement. See if you can tighten that thing up. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very good. Don't twist her, though. Very good. You okay? Strangulation or neck crank? Yeah. Good, sir. What's behind his elbow? What's behind his elbow?
My whole body, coach.
Good, all right.
My hips.
Yeah. Good. Put his hands on the mat. Put his hands on the mat. Yep. Good. 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 Now hold him. Hold it. Yeah. Now start tightening things up. Good. Yeah. Anything behind his elbow. I don't care what it is. Good. Good. I see some movement in those hands. Let's tighten that thing up. Good. Good. Yeah, mess around there. Try to squeeze that space. Elbow in. Get his elbow in. Get that thing. Yes. Good. Very good, sir. Good. Yeah. Keep searching. Nice, man. Wait. Good. Good. Yes, sir. Wait, yes, sir. Very good. You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. Got it for your head. Yeah, very good. Good. I'm going to give you just a little general cue. So anytime you use your own body to destabilize them, I tell this thing to my guys, try to always recreate a path to the top, even if you're on the bottom, okay? So what do we mean by something like this? Imagine I was in front headlock, right? And if I just like, I'm gonna throw myself down, it's highly likely, that he might cover me. I don't have a path to the top. However, if I put myself in a situation where, let's say, for example, put my feet in, I can always use my feet if I don't like it to stay here to try to recreate a path to the top by moving him so I can come up. Because it's not about like a technique or anything, but I want to be able to get myself back up off the mat if something goes wrong, right? So whatever that means to you, just like, you can start with like, it might reduce your performance, but you can start with, do I have a path to the top right now? Can I get up? And so how we practice it is you could do something like put them down and then just try to get back on top. And just play with that as you play. And it's just an intention that you want to get used to having. Just a thought. You're welcome. Time, guys, relax. Now, before I start giving you my thoughts, tell me yours. Anyone want to talk about what we just did? How you felt about it? Did you feel it was good, bad, indifferent? You don't understand, doesn't feel effective, anything? Good opinions, bad opinions, criticism? Give me something. Yes, sir.
In this game, you
Yeah, it's all right.
prioritize getting up instead of like pulling guard. Is there?
I did? Oh, you mean for the bottom player?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime we set a specific situation, there are things that will happen that are going to give lots of resistance, okay? Now, in your mind, what do you think would be harder to deal with if I ultimately wanted to keep somebody down? Them pulling guard and going to their back, or them putting their base points on the floor? So I'm giving you guys a harder problem to solve. Now, if I'm trying to strangle someone from the front, and again, I'm going to tell you why I have this opinion, because it's based on my conceptual framework, and I think what we consider call a hierarchy through physical certainty. If I know that the ultimate purpose of the game is immobilization, even if I have someone in front headlock, this is a more mobile position that he has than if he pulls his head out and starts sitting to his guard. Like just put your legs back in front of me. Because the likelihood that I continue to immobilize him is higher if he goes that way. If he gets up and gets his head out, he's completely mobile now. So it's a more difficult problem to solve relative to the purpose of the whole game. So again, I'm just giving you guys a more difficult situation to solve. Also, by constraining the bottom player to build base and stay up, I'm forcing them to stay in that position for longer, so the top player has more time to work in the situation to try to achieve the outcomes they're looking for. So it's both tied into the way we want to play the game as it relates to the task of the whole game, but it's also relative to the practice design. I want you guys to get more touches per unit time in a situation where front strangulation is possible. So it's a combination of both things happening at once. Real quick, 1 second, I'm going to get you. I got you next. Is there anything you'd like to ask about or discuss about this? Are you sure? All right.
So, crafting these games, you take the position, you look at the invariables of the position.
Invariants, yes, sir.
Invariances, excuse me.
I'm not gonna use that word anymore, but no, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
And then you progress the 3 games from low variability to high variability.
This would be a general way that I think about practice when I design games. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Correct. Criticism, anything. You know, I know there's got to be some skeptic out there who's like, man, this shit sucks ass. I'm gonna go back to watching Danaher DVDs. Yes, sir.
How would you start to incorporate like the other options from that front headlock position, like going to the back, right?
Yeah, great. Let's look at how these things connect, right? So, do you guys know what protects center mass? Like if I want to get to your center, what part of your body do you use to protect someone from getting to your center? Your periphery, right? If you listened to me yesterday, you'd know. So the periphery, right? So the arms. So by getting behind the elbow, we create a dilemma. I can use the contraction of the arm to create compression on the neck, but I also create a path to the back. So I'm already teaching you guys how to do that by setting a condition that is present in both the transition from front to back, but also in the transition from control to threat. So they're both there present at the same time. So I haven't said that yet, but what I would do is I would just add that as a win criteria in the game. So I would give you guys 2 options. If we were to continue to play this and I was to develop this position, we would say the task, keep them down, connect hands, put them on their back and try to compress. But at any time, if you felt like you were losing it, stay behind the arm, make chest to back contact, you win the game. Okay? So that's how I would advance that position. We're practicing a condition that allows both to happen, and then I would just add the option as a win condition. Does that make sense to you? Yes, sir.
Do you tend to, if you have multiple win conditions, do you tend to focus on a primary, and then if not, then?
Yes, but I don't want that. Think of that as a mental map. If not, then is just so I can affect your focus of intention and attention, right? So it's really what I'm trying to affect in you. So if you're new, I want to give you something simple to work on that's going to potentially lead to future behaviors. If you have some skills present already, and I want you to explore the space for multiple affordances or multiple outcomes, information for multiple outcomes, then I would give you if-then, but not as like a rule, but as a potentiality, right? So again, it would just go from simple to complex. Who am I working with? Why did I design this practice? What do I want to happen? Do I want to stabilize a new skill, or do I want to express growing skill by trying to add in problems for the person to solve? Yes, no, maybe? Okay.
It seemed like because we start with the hands disconnected, the first game is essentially a grip fighting game.
All Jiu-Jitsu is a grip fighting game, but keep going.
So this is a good thing, but because we're playing that grip fighting game, if you don't find success in that grip fighting game and never get to that second stage in that grip fighting game, then you don't get to access the things that we were working on in the second and third game, so it becomes just a constant grip fighting game, which is maybe a good thing overall.
I just want you to think about what you're saying right now. You're saying, how do I do the thing if I can't do the thing?
Right, exactly. This is the foundational layer, so.
You know? If I can't stand, I can't walk. If I can't walk, can't run, can't jump. Gotta fucking stand first, pal. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you start. Now, what you're asking is a question about how do we determine how to design a game geared towards success so people find it more motivating or can build future skills. Low variability to high variability. We already discussed that. But you guys are a mixed room. And she asked a question about, how can I get better at this thing? What games would I play? And I gave you guys some generalized games. Again, I don't know any of you. If you were in my foundations class, I might start you with connected hands and just hold here, right? But again, I'm just showing you guys how I would do it in real time when asked the question. What you're asking is not wrong, but you're asking about how do I control variability. I have to know the room first.
Maybe someone else had that problem, so I hope it wasn't that waste of time.
No, it wasn't. No, you asked a good question. I'm just saying. I chose because I have a mixed room. Remy, last one, and then we're moving on. Go.
I'm just trying to connect the scenario to other alignments and how you used a condition that fills multiple options. If you're training any alignment, as long as you're only having one task focus, if you incorporate a condition that affords multiple outcomes, that's how you can train somebody, especially a newer person, with their focus being on one task, but to be able to achieve multiple different
Correct.
options.
By the way, metastability, by the way. So those of you guys who are curious about the dumb shit, that's what that is. I'm creating a metastable situation so that you have multiple affordances, no strong attractors, and you guys can search the landscape for multiple outcomes.
But for a beginner, you keep that one task focus and then.
Because it leads to, it leads to other things. I know that, they don't know that, but it doesn't matter. I'm trying to get anything to come out at first. Yep. Freeze, relax. Okay, let's get another one. Anybody else are curious? Since you two are together, I'm not ignoring you, young man, but, okay. Yes, sir.
How do you change variability when you're doing passing games?
Change variability when I'm doing passing games.
Yeah, in your last video you talked about you want to start with low variance and then build up to the...
Were you here yesterday?
Yes.
You did? Our passing game.
That was it.
Yeah. So I started with something small. What was the first game you played?
Just a little.
Good. Lower variability. What do we add to it? Complexity. Put your feet here, get to this line. That's harder. Get to this very specific line, do this very specific thing against full resistance. That's more complex. That's how we do it. Simple task focus is generally lower in variability depending on the situation, and then we add task focus to increase complexity, or one way to increase complexity. It could be the situation too, for example. Guard passing in its nature is more complex than, say, holding mount, because there's more decisions to make when you're in front of legs than when you're on top of somebody's chest. So we can control either with simplicity of task or within the nature of the position we start in. Does that make sense to you? Yeah? Is there another movement pattern, another situation, something you guys would like to, yeah?
Like entries from bottom half.
Oh, bottom half, okay, I'll do that. All right, double knees down. Now, I want you to keep in mind, so this is actually important. I don't know if I should go here. I don't think specific guards exist as having to stay anywhere. I think that we have to change our connections relative to the resistance we're receiving from the top player. One of the problems I think that's present in this community is since we define these steady states, half guard, deep half, Anubis guard, K guard, we think that they are a highly specific thing, but we don't realize they're all component parts of a larger thing that has to be adjusted constantly. So I'm gonna take your question seriously, I'm gonna give you a game, but understand I would tie this into the greater whole, all right? So leg entries from deep half.
Right. If you were to ever start in this position in front of your room, what would you call this position?
Guard.
Guard. You're starting in this guard variation.
Yeah. So, but I'm gonna let's play what you asked about. Let's do it, man. It doesn't matter. All right. Now, we're going to start specifically. We're going to start the half guard situation. Hopefully all you guys know what half guard is. Half guard is defined as two legs interacting with one. I'm going to give you a specific variation. The knee shield half guard. We just call it this because we take our knee like a shield and we put it in front of our opponent. I don't care how you start with your feet. Just make sure that your knees are in front of your opponent. Now, the goal of this game for the bottom player is to use your connections, your hands, knees, feet, in any orientation. I want you to try to get your opponent's hands to touch the mat. Again, there's going to be no win condition for you, bottom player. You're going to try to continuously use your connections in any way to make your partner touch the mat, all right? But you can't leave this situation. You have to keep two legs interacting with one. I don't care where you go with it. You just have to keep two legs, face me, no? Two legs interacting with one. And the whole time, use your hands, connections to make your partner touch any way that you can, but you have to stay in this situation, okay? You cannot change. Do you understand what I'm asking you to do? Yeah?
I have a question.
Oh, God.
What's the other guy trying to do? What's the other guy trying to do?
I'm about to get there.
Oh, sorry, I'm not hearing that.
Questions about what I asked about that, the bottom player's situation?
Are you, I'm going to use the word disappointed, if a student were to lock down the opponent and then not move dynamically? Are you looking for dynamic movement in this?
I'm looking for destabilization. Okay? We move because we have to, because we play the game of immobilization, it leads strangulation and breaking, so if I'm not moving, what's happening to me? I'm being immobilized. So right now, I just want you to focus on the task. Use your connections to make your partner touch the mat. Stay in two legs, stop. I'm not answering more questions. Connections to your opponent, make their hands touch the mat. Top player, all I want you to do, at any time, I want you to make chest to chest or chest to back contact. If you're able to make chest to chest or chest to back contact at any time, you win the game. Change top to bottom every time. Top player makes chest to chest or chest to back contact. Let's go, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay. So I was gonna give you a more specific task because you asked about a specific thing, but let me tell you, let me get you here. So what you're asking about, the waiter has some specific conditions. One of them is getting underneath the knee. So what I would have had you done, these are one of two things. I would have had you start with a grip and try to continuously use it. Okay. Or I would have had you get there and then try to continuously use it. Okay. Just so you have some experience with that engagement towards an effect, which would always be destabilization for the bottom player if we want to set up something from the bottom that's not a come up directly or something like that. Right. We still use destabilization for the come up, but either way.
We'll just start in a underhook on the far side leg, a half guard on this leg, stay in that engagement. Yes. Continually put top player hands on the mat.
Yeah, just so you have some experience with the effect of that specific alignment.
Start playing. Okay, cool.
Does that make sense? Yeah. You're welcome, man. Hey, Pat, how long do I have today? Oh, good. Good, top player, chest to chest, chest to back, any way you can. Any way you can. Bottom player, use your connections, make top player touch the mat as many times as you can, any way you'd like. Move however you'd like. Good. If she touches her chest on your chest, I don't care what your legs look like, that's a loss. Very good, man. Very good. Stay close. Move his feet. Yep, move his feet. Now move his knees. Good. Stay on top. Come back up. Stand back up. Good. Good. Move his knees. Move his knees. Good. Very good. Excuse me. I'll get to you. If we run out of time, I'll answer whatever questions you have. Okay.
This is actually pretty close.
Okay.
I was saying half guard to top position.
Okay.
I know that your school likes to go to the feet, so I just wanted to know how you would approach the half guard, like a half guard position.
If I'm already there, or how do I treat it in general in the whole game?
I was saying in general in the whole game.
Okay, great, awesome. That's a great question. I actually really like that question. It's good. It's good for me. Do you understand, based on the question you asked, why I designed the game the way I did?
Yeah, that was really helpful.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you understand how the conditions of connecting hands, getting behind elbows, how it leads to the potentiality for strangulation?
Yes.
Okay, great. Awesome. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, of course. Yes, sir.
Are we on top allowed to try to clear the leg entanglement?
Exactly. There is no rules for the top player. You just got to put your chest on chest.
Okay, got it.
So the reason I don't give you a way is so you can just mess around. What I'm giving the bottom player is novelty. He doesn't know what you're going to do except where you're going, so he has to prevent that. And so that's going to give him a reason to touch you. It's going to give him a reason to put his legs in specific places. It has to be relative to what you're trying to do to him.
Okay.
And if we know that getting close starts to hold the bottom player still, you got to stop that. That's foundational.
Now, do you run into in practice where, like, say I clear the knee shield, but he turtles, and that was like the complete opposite of the objective?
That's why chest to back contact is a win.
Okay.
We constrain it. So, because if you want to lose and keep showing your back, sweet. Or you solve the fucking problem and don't let him. So what it does is it constrains it. That is not a solution, because that lets you win. So I can't do that. I'm not going to do that next time. Do you see how that works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or, I mean, not to.
You keep asking, yeah.
Like, let's say he clears my knee shield, but I stay in half guard. I'm inside mount.
Great.
I'm keeping him away from chest to chest.
Yep.
So I'm still.
You're still winning. You're still playing again. But where are you trying to get with your legs?
Back into that.
Exactly. So it gives you a parameter to work within. So we have a reason for our actions. Okay. We're guiding ourselves to use intention to create an outcome, and they're fighting each other. Do you see? You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep. Welcome. So really, we think about it like this. Anytime we want to deal with a situation, we kind of look at three aspects of a situation. The connections that are being made during the thing, the structures we're using, and the movements we're using. So if we're in an entanglement, depending on where we are, can we use our connections to fight connections? Can we restructure ourselves to change the nature of the alignment, or can we move ourselves to change the nature of the alignment? moving our opponent is also an option. Okay, so what are our connections doing? What are our structures doing? What are our movements doing as it relates to the outcome we either want to achieve or one we want to resist? So the answer is always there somewhere, right? So entanglements are simple. It's at the beginning of an isolation process. To defeat isolations, we have to disconnect our partner from our base joint. We cannot let them get to the base joint because that's going to give them attachment to center mass during isolation, which is very strong. We don't want that. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, so clearing the foot off the hip straight away.
That's specific. Yeah, but yes. But I say connections because I don't know what it's going to look like.
Right.
But I don't want them around this shit.
Gotcha.
I want that. I don't want that, you know?
Do you care whether you're standing or...
Standing is my preferred, and the reason why is, actually we can talk about this later because this is actually a really interesting part about I don't think entanglements standing are actually good. I think the passing is so low and people are so scared of it, they fall down. But if you resist most people, that entanglement almost has no effect. Think about what Kanan and Giancarlo the other day. Kanan has refused, and Giancarlo like spamming entanglements. Kanan's not moving. You know what I mean?
I put myself in that fire, like trying to get that to be the way to go.
Yeah.
This guy that's on the table over there, just vicious ankle lock. You're like,
Yeah.
when he has the entanglement, when he has the overwrap, like, it's hard to get away.
Stand on that foot. It takes away the ankle, takes away the heel hook. Now he can fight the connections directly, assisted by the strength of our base, which is stronger now because we're standing. Does that make sense to you? Yeah.
I'll ask after I think
Yeah, that's a good one. Time! Relax! Relax! Time! So, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've only done 4 6-minute games, all right? So, you know, we're low, and you know, everyone would ask me, like, you only train for an hour? You guys are already fading. All right, let's continue with your situation. Okay, so to be clear, the bottom player's task one more time, because I know as you get tired, you will lose focus, okay? It's just like, you know, the energy in your body, the focus depletes too, so it's kind of hard to stay focused on task as you get tired, but we're going to keep trying. But again, bottom player's job was use their connections in a half guard situation to continuously try to put the defending player on their hands, okay? There wasn't a win condition. I hope you guys heard that because I think some of you guys didn't. The bottom player was supposed to continuously try it while the top player tried to get chest to back. That was the win condition that changed it. Okay, now we're going to continue with that, but I'm going to give you something new to do. All right? This time, during the process, I am going to give the bottom player a win condition. So we're going to keep the first part. We're going to start in the knee shield half guard situation. We're going to use our connections to constantly put our partner on their hands. I'm going to add something because the question got asked. Hips as well. So hips or hands. So get your partner's butt or hands to touch. Now the win condition is anytime in this process, if the top player gets both their feet in between bottom player's knees, top player's knees, so I'm sorry again. If the bottom player gets both their feet in between top player's knees at any time during that process, they win the game. So again, there's no order, but during a destabilized situation, it's easier to move into your next thing than when my partner is stable. Okay? So, use your connections to destabilize from a half guard situation. Hips or hands, anytime during that process, bottom player get both feet to the inside. I don't care what it looks like. Okay, I don't care what it looks like, all right? You can do anything that you guys can imagine. If you get both feet to the inside, you win the game, okay? Don't care. Starting in half guard, destabilize feet to the middle. Do you guys understand what I'm asking you to do? Top player, your win condition is the exact same as it was before. Put your chest on your opponent's chest, put your chest on your opponent's back, you win the game. Change top to bottom every time somebody wins. You guys got it? Let's play, 1, 2, 3. This is why I'm aggressive.
Listen, I'm very sympathetic. Oh, dude, I gotta go to the ENT when I get back. I think like just getting sick over and over again is like slowing down the healing process. I'm still fucking blowing out blood clots.
You gotta go, man.
I just fucking blew out like fucking 2. Like, what is going on? My guess is probably just like the infections and shit like that slowing it down. But just make sure it's not like completely fucked up. Because my breathing feels a lot better.
Yeah.
It's just like it feels a lot better when there's not a fuck ton of mucus in there.
For sure.
Like it feels good like throughout the day, but during training, like it's just so runny.
Yeah.
And in the mornings, it's like dry and bloody. So I gotta get that taken care of.
like even I like these guys too. Like even when they did like they started like fucking up.
Yeah, I've been watching them the whole time. Yeah, no, it's amazing.
That's the difference. See, it's not. It's the people.
No, it is. It is. It's like you. Listen, I'm an extremist. I'm like, yo, if you don't have intention, fuck you.
Yeah.
Who's catching your eye here?
These two young men, okay?
I pulled with this kid on top the other night.
It's just their focus is so good. I mean, he's trained with me before. He's been in my gym twice. This young man I just met the other day.
He did the video with you, right?
Yeah. And so what's interesting is like they're staying exactly within the constraints. It doesn't, and if you watch it, they're not doing anything. They're just moving around. They're touching each other. It looks crazy, but they're staying in the space. Even when they went crazy for a minute, they resetted themselves, stopped, and went back to their intention. I don't know. That's what I look for. You know what I mean?
Just chatting with Aaron, I'm like, do you think it's the Greg effect that like everyone's got all these questions about, well, can I do this? Can I do this? Instead of just doing what you're telling them to do. I think a lot of them have just like, they've been waiting for their moment to ask you.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I felt like happened on Friday.
Like, dude, does your class ask you all these questions? It's like, no.
Yeah.
Mine either. Like,
yeah, neither does mine.
I give it to them and they go.
I'm trying to get my students to ask me questions sometimes.
I ask Greg a question like once a month.
It's the opposite of your typical seminars where they're like, any questions? Everyone's like,
yeah.
And every time I do ask him a question, I always start it with, I've been doing this for like 3 weeks, and I finally need some external input.
Freeze, don't move, gentlemen. Go, just go. What do you have right now? You won. Okay, good, yeah. He shouldn't have to tap you. You're not dumb. I can't think because my belt's blue.
I know, it was cool. Once you promoted me to purple belt, my IQ, I finally hit triple digits.
Dude.
I was like, yes.
When I got black belt, it's like the world opened up. Like, I know everything now.
Yeah, because every black belt I know is Socrates.
Yeah. Dude, I didn't go to sleep, man. I went upstairs. I'm fucking brutal. I'm so tired right now. I was like, I'm so tired.
What was on your mind?
Nothing. My mind is on my mind.
Exhausting, isn't it?
I'm so tired. Man, my throat is sore. I'm fucking smoked.
You're thugging it out. It doesn't show at all.
There's something. I think it's amazing thing. When I start working, it doesn't matter how tired I am. Something else happens. So I actually talked to my guy Rob Wilson. He says it's like that's why I'm actually having stress problems because I'm too sympathetic, and I can always charge it. I don't need to reset it, but that's like keeping me in the red constantly, and that's why I'm like hyper and shit. He says it's a nervous response to my environment. He's like, he works with Navy SEALs. He said they do the same thing. Like they never act bothered, but they are.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like cortisol up here.
Yes. Yeah, it's actually like a issue with cortisol. Yeah.
Killing you, man.
It is. Like. He said, he's like, buddy, I don't know how you got here, but the numbers that we're looking at are the same numbers that the war guys. Yeah. He's like, you're doing this to yourself. Right. Yeah, so anyway, I can work. I don't care. I don't need sleep, you know? All right, guys, time, relax. Good job. Yeah, your feet were in the middle. Let's go. Go ahead, man. I'm ready.
So how would you have actually, you say you wouldn't have started in that half-leg engagement early?
Yeah.
And be very prescriptive about that? How would you have actually started?
We wouldn't even started there in my room. We would have started from something much more like usable. So 2 ways I would have started this idea if I would have had time with you guys. So I decide I'm either going to start connected or non-connected. That's usually how I decide if I'm gonna, what I'm gonna play based on who I'm working with. If I'm working with brand new people, I like to start connected for 2 reasons. One, you get to touch something right away and you get to feel all that exchange. Our eyes are sometimes make us a little twitchy when things are disconnected. I think it's a little harder to pick up information in a like a kinesthetic sport like this at a distance. So anyway, I either start connected or non-connected. But again, newer players, typically, let's say connected for that immediate feedback between the 2 players. But also, I like to start in the state or condition that I want them to work towards. So if I were to teach entanglements, we actually start in the entanglement. However, like I said, I have a mixed room. So in my all levels class, I'll start from either side, non-connected or connected, because it's a mixed room. So I'll be challenging them with different levels of variability throughout the hour class. All right, so that's how I would have been different. If you were brand new guys in my room wanting to work towards entanglements from half guard, doesn't matter where it's from, I had to teach what an entanglement is. Remember, definition, objective, task. All right, so that's how I would have done things differently. Yes, sir.
Like something like this, would you switch right leg, partner A, partner B, and then when you go again, you put left leg? Like, do you alternate?
You guys want these like flow charts of perfection. I have never found this perfection thing you guys seem so confident about. My life has always been a fucking mess, and I'm here anyway. Like I was talking today, I was like peeing in the bathroom, I was like, damn, I'm in Massachusetts talking to a bunch of people about some shit I just read about. It's weird, you know what I mean? And if you asked me how I got here, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But the only thing I did know is I really tried really hard. So however you decide to switch sides, where you want to start, we always need to start with an intention. Regardless of all the bullshit in my life that got me here, what I do know is I intended to talk passionately about things I'm passionate about. I think it was my intention that led me here. So not to be overly philosophical about it, but that's what we do in practice. What do you intend to do, man? Do you want to explore as much as you want. Get the outcomes you search for. Get better at it, right? It's simpler than you guys are making it.
As a coach, would you encourage play both sides?
Man, what makes you feel better, pal? We're all different, man. Like, I'm obsessive, right? So, like, when I decide to train for myself, I wouldn't ask people to do what I do. Like, I'll continue, and this is not right, but I'll tell you what I do. I will play something so much until I actually start getting overuse pains, right? So I have acute scoliosis from half guard because for 3 years I played half guard for 30 minutes every single day. So I literally reformed the shape of my hips and spine because I did something too much. It's real, so you might not want to do that. There's healthier ways to approach getting good. But even I know that, you know, after 4 surgeries, 5 herniated discs, spinal cord damage, lost use of my left arm, I still do that behavior. You know, I still like it. So
reminding people they have 2 sides because some guys don't even think about that fact.
Yeah, but maybe not. Why? You know? What'd you say?
They're adults.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I make this joke, and I don't mean to sound offensive, but I always say, I'm not daddy, guys. I'll tell you what I did, and I'll give you my best guess, and I'll tell you what I read, and I'll tell you why my students are having success, but that's all I can give you, man. You guys got to take what I'm telling you and just run with it. Yes, sir?
You said the first thing in the game design you start with connected, not connected. What's the second thing?
No, that was it. I either start connected or non-connected. 1, 2. First thing or second thing.
And then what's the next step in your game design?
What do you mean what's my next step in the game design?
You have a game design, you first approach every game with first connected or not connected, but you have...
No, I said one of 2 things, either connected or not connected. That was the 2 things.
You don't have anything more specific after that?
Upon starting the game, no. Because we either have to approach the object to interact with it, or we have to already be touching it to interact with it. Is there another option? I mean, Jedis in here can use your minds to pick shit up from a distance? I can't. All right, let's move on. Okay, now, but I'm going to ask this. I wouldn't typically ask, but I don't have you guys. Do you guys all know what entanglements are? Yes. Does everyone here know what an entanglement is? Okay, I'm going to give you the last condition for the game. Okay, so let's keep everything the same. Starting in the half guard situation, use our connection to destabilize to the hips of the hands. Get your feet to the inside. Now, the last piece is connecting to your opponent's hips. Now, sit on your butt for me, just in case. I'm gonna just do this for you because I would have had this in the program. So when I say connected to the hips, what I mean is this. I need both of my legs connected to my partner's hips. I'm gonna give you 3 stereotypical ways to accomplish this task so you can get it started. Mixed connection, foot and knee. Outside connection, however it looks, your feet are outside your partner's body as they're connected, or inside your partner's knees as they're connected. I don't care what it looks like, any connection. Inside, mixed, or outside, but you have to be attached to your partner's hip to win the game. All right? Put them on hips or hands, get to the inside, attach to their hips. That's your win. Top player, same as before. Chest to chest, chest to back. Switch top to bottom every time somebody wins. Let's go, 1, 2, 3. Start with distance management. Keep the top player away from our hips, chest, shoulders, and back. Because it removes...
Talking to game design?
Yeah, that's why I came over here. Connected or non-connected, that's the first thing. The second thing is, what am I doing with those connections? Okay? Typically from guarded situations, what I'm doing with those connections has to, and revolves around managing distance. What I mean by managing distance from guarded situations is keeping the top player away from our hips, chest, shoulders, and back. So it could be as simply as starting connected and keeping them away, or it could be starting connected while keeping them away, and put them on their hips or hands. Do you see? So we have the non-connected, connected, and then what we are doing with those connections. What is our intention for what we are doing with these connections? Does that make sense to you?
That's the second thing.
Yes, sir.
And then you have a more specific task after.
It depends on what I'm trying to get my students to do. So the specific task would relate to the conditions that need to be present for me to reach the outcome that I'm looking for. So sit in your butt for me, give me your legs. Just right here. Now, all entanglements rely on inside positioning. So inside positioning is when my legs are in between yours. What this does is inside position gives me access to your hips. What this means is there's nothing in between your hips and me. Okay, we can take your hands for granted, okay, but either way, I have a clear path to get to your hips. If your legs are on the inside of mine, I no longer have that path. Do you understand? So this is the precursor or precondition or the condition for the thing we're working to. So that's why it's a specific aspect of what we're doing. Use connections to destabilize, find inside position, then entangle. Do you see? So we're baking in the conditions that need to be present in the situation to create the outcomes we want. Does that make sense to you, sir? Yeah. I like to chastise and tease. I just do this to entertain myself. You asked a good question. Yes, sir. Okay. Yep.
I do have one little thing off that I just
Please.
thought of, and I'm probably going in the wrong direction here, but if you were to talk to brand new people about entanglements, would you want to start 50-50?
Yes. Oh, no.
Or would you want to end up more 50-50?
It doesn't matter where you start, but you want to make sure whatever conditions you set in the game gives them the path you started them in.
Okay.
So I typically start them in the easiest way to access, which is we call standard entanglement. It's arimiashi that people call it, okay?
Yeah.
So that's where we start because it's very accessible. It's very accessible. So we put them there, we play a control game where you have to stay there.
Okay.
Next game, we give them the condition to get there. That's very easy.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I
yes,
like
sir.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How you feeling this morning, man?
Good.
You all right?
Yeah.
All right, good. Freeze, snapshot, hold still. What's in your way?
She's crushing my legs.
No, listen, what's in your way? Look at her. Use your eyes.
Her head.
Her what?
Her head.
Oh, chest to back, let's go. That's a win. I love the movement, gentlemen. Thank you. Yes, sir. Let's try to stop our partners from moving, yeah? Time! All right, guys, real quick. Just as a small thing, just to kind of ease you guys a little bit. I tease and chastise because it's fun. No, for other reason, man. So please don't take anything to me, just having a good time hanging out with y'all. That's all it really is. There's no anger. I do get frustrated, but I'm just fucking with you guys if I tease you, okay? So don't take it to heart. Do you guys have anything you want to talk? We went through 6 games, okay? I gave the 2 first people to ask, got the selection they wanted. To those of you guys who experienced these situations, what did you think about it? By experiencing the way I designed them, does it at all clarify all the things you've heard me say if you've listened to me speak in the past? Yes. Can you see how I'm using the things I'm telling you directly here in the live environment as you guys ask me these questions? Right? Are you guys getting the outcomes to some degree as you guys are searching the space? Do you enjoy the training?
Absolutely not.
All right? So, fuck Reddit. No, I'm just kidding. Anything, guys, anything. We're gonna just chit chat, let you guys cool off, because I know we have more stuff to do. We got like 18 minutes, and then yeah, Pat, let's go.
Since we had our little sidebar about it,
yeah.
Talk a little bit with the group about the
Jiu-Jitsu philosophy.
Entanglements conversation.
Let's talk about Jiu-Jitsu philosophy, guys.
We don't have to play the games everyone.
No, I know. You don't have to tell me. All right, here's a little piece of how I sort of determine what I get my students to do. So I like to watch a lot of matches, and I like to see what are the effects the two bodies are having on each other. Now, I try to think of this in a lot of ways. So one, I understand that in a stable system, when you add novelty, it disrupts the system in a big way. You know what I mean? So an example would be something like in 2014, we didn't see entanglements that much. They were just emerging as this new meta that was happening in the no-gi scene. And anyone who had a skill of a basic outside entanglement, for example, i.e. Eddie Cummings, was torturing the community. Nobody could deal with it. People didn't know what the hell was going on. He was just exploding legs. Eddie Cummings, right? Now, so what do we all think? Man, there must be some superpower. Let's all do it too. So as we started doing it, we copied what we saw. We got similar outcomes. But we did it in as a novel contribution to a stable system. And all that means is the system was not organized around that new thing it had never seen. Okay? You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm not going to joke about it, but I was. So the novelty is what led to its big success. Now, what are you guys seeing it happen at the same rate now? No, it's present, but are people outside hooking the bejesus out of each other every time they get there? No, it's not. Okay? Now, one of the reasons I'm telling you this is when we first saw it, bottom players were entangling standing players. And standing players didn't know how to deal with this. So typically, when you guys are scared of an entanglement, I'll see if anyone knows what they do. What do you do if it's brand new and you're standing and someone entangles you? What's your initial reaction? I see it all the time. Oh, grabbing the head is one of them. Yeah, that's absolutely. Oh, I don't know what's happening. Who said it? Yes, trying to flee. Trying to flee was what's making it work. Fleeing, if it is an example, I don't know if you guys will get this one, in its conclusion, if someone ends with a heel, is an example of doing what to yourself? Destabilizing yourself. Now, I'm painting a picture. I swear to God, I'll get to this, right? So, immobilization as it leads to strangulation and breaking. If I want to break a leg, I have to destabilize the body and I have to immobilize it. So we do that by putting the hips on the floor. So if I flee and I fall to the floor, what have I done to myself? Great. But now, leg locks aren't novel anymore. So if Noah can't put me on my hips, I don't give a fuck about that entanglement because he's not going to break me, right? So what are people doing now? So what does that tell us about the function of an entanglement against a standing player? I like you. I don't know who you are. You want to come? You can come back to Maryland, bro. You're with us. Let's go. Official. Yes, that's exactly right. So then what we really didn't understand is the function of the connection, which was truly to destabilize, right? So what is a foot orientation that gives us more physical certainty as it relates to destabilizing a body from the bottom position? I'll do this one. Post and hook connection. It's harder for me to stay up. When is Noah gonna switch to an entanglement? When I am? I love you guys, right? So now we have to adjust to the lack of novelty in that original system. We have to understand its actual function as it relates to what it's doing so we can improve how the system has organized around what was once novel. Now we have a new understanding of what's actually going on. So what does this tell us as new people who train? The true skill is using our guard to destabilize bodies as a precursor to adding threat. You're welcome. Does that make sense to you? Awesome. So this just gives us our guide. If we can master our medium, if we can see what's happening based on condition and effect, we see all of what's happening. It doesn't mean that we can do it, but now we have a path forward. We know what we should do with our intentions if it relates to these known outcomes or these physically certain outcomes that lead us to immobilization, strangulation, and breaking. You want to ask anything else, Pat? Yeah, I hope it's good. Hope it's good. Don't disappoint me.
I saw the first game you guys were playing front headlock, starting in front headlock situation.
Yes, sir.
The second game you were starting in a half guard situation. I was wondering that intermediate position where somebody's in an open guard position,
okay,
and they're playing really heavy, they're not giving the legs. Do you play a game where they heist up and try to score, take the back?
Oh, you mean for the bottom player?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we would play a similar game. So let's see if you guys can take what I just said and infer what I would do. Double knees down. Based on everything I just said, and his problem, guy staying low, guy staying stable, not moving, what do you think the first game I would design to try to help solve that problem? I would do one of two things. Let's see if you guys can guess at least one of them. Make connections and destabilize. But sometimes it's so hard, man, that guy hunkers down. So then what might be the next thing that I would have someone probably do to solve this problem in an initial game? Move myself. Who said it? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Drugstore Craig Jones. I was hoping you would say something. Yes!
You're so happy.
3 days ago, I was like, I hope he talks to me. I'm going to call him Drugstore Craig Jones. You were almost out of here, too. You had 12 minutes. I couldn't fuck with you anymore. Yeah, so exactly right. We'd give two win conditions. The win condition would be for the bottom player to make top player touch their hands by staying connected to them or getting up. And so now we can explore that space relative to the outcome. And if we wanted to exaggerate it, we could have the top player stay double knees down and be that guy. So we play character games sometimes, I haven't talked about this, where we act like a guy, okay? The guy we hate, sit up, sit. We fucking hate that guy. So we play that guy. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's it. But do you get the point? We can have the top player do the thing that we want to fight against, and we can use what we understand about how the system organizes to design a game to try to solve that problem. You're welcome. Cool. Awesome. I'm done. Oh. I can't see you. Who raised? No, never mind. Don't be afraid. Ask.
So how do you go about teaching submissions? Do you start from the end or from the beginning or both?
Both. But if I'm working with brand new players, start with the end. Think about if you're in a new city, right? You don't know the directions of the street, you don't know the street names, but you went one place to another place. You can use that other place to help you start to guide yourself. You kind of generally knew where you went, so you just use your eyes and look around. Oh, that looks like the thing that I saw first, and I go there. We'd use this mechanism. So we can use this here in a behavior mechanism too. So we can start in a final state, play within it, and start at some precursor state and work towards it. This is very good for beginners. It gives them a roadmap, so to speak, to get them from where they currently are in any given situation to the one we want to get them to.
Do you ever think of destabilization in terms of like their energy, like less physical body?
You're awesome.
Or like work in their mind and they're like, how long can they compress, that kind of shit?
Yeah, that's actually a cool question. But if I like close my eyes, I'm like, he trains at 10th Planet, he trains at 10th Planet. All right. So let's talk about, so destabilization, right? So one of the interesting things about, and again, I don't know the Japanese language, but Kasushi just doesn't refer to falling down. It actually refers to weakening a structure so it can no longer apply and receive force. Now, when you do effortful things, there's an energy exchange where as your body heats up, fatigue is introduced to the system. So you can use that as a mechanism, right? So I can like denature the structure of my opponent's body and continuously apply force to it to start to add fatigue to the system, assuming that I'm not going to fatigue at the same rate as I'm trying to cause on my opponent. So this is already happening. This is why conditioning is important. But either way, you might be able to plan a training protocol where you focused on doing this to your opponent. I do this to my students. I really like to put people in combinations of extension and contraction at the same time and twist them so they can't breathe, and I just hold them there until they quit. So I do this to like visitors a lot. And so that's no, so I try to do that too. And actually, it sounds like a dickish thing, but I'm really exploring that idea. I like the idea, if we don't have punches, how the hell can I make you suffer? I don't let you move or breathe. People panic under that pressure. So that's a form, in my mind, of destabilization. I'm destabilizing them psychologically by putting on pressures that they can't mentally deal with. So again, that's, maybe you want to do that, whatever. I mean, you can maybe...
I feel the same thing, because I go into an absolute match, I face a big guy, what can I destabilize his body? It's not going to happen.
For sure.
I can annoy him.
Yeah, no, really. And it works. It works on me, man. Like, when I'm training, I stay particularly calm, but there are a few people that get me frustrated, and I start doing stupid shit. Yeah. So. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
You talk about high variability and being more for the advanced players.
For sure.
So in your classes, are you focusing on, like, are you ever like repeating games in your advanced class, or is it like new games every single day for novelty?
It's a good question, but so this is another problem, and it's my fault because I've sort of created this beast. When a lot of people are taking the games and they're trying to take technique away, but then just putting game in its spot. So when we repeat games, I'm not really sure. I know what you're asking, but that's missing the point. You're missing the forest because the trees are in the way type situation. We call them games just to tell you that we can take a small part of the big game and we can focus on it. So what we're really manipulating is task focus. So let's say we played the same situation. The question really is, what I think you're asking is, do we have the same task focus all the time for that same situation? Now, in the foundations class, because it's sort of like a revolving door, people coming once a month, 2 days a week, quitting after 6 months, quitting after a year, we see a lot of the same task focus over and over and over again from similar and recognizable situations. But as they go to the more intermediate or advanced classes, we may see the same situation, but I may give wildly different task focuses for that situation, both in orientation and complexity. Does that make sense to you? So it's not the game, it's the task focus, right? We just shortcut that whole process of definition, objective, task, and calling it a game. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. So, are you like, how often do you like repeat the same like task focus?
It's going to be relative to the room. So really, we use them to get behavior to come out. So like I said, in the foundations class, because people are coming and going, sometimes skills don't stabilize so well because the nature of a beginner who doesn't fully commit to the process. So you'll see a lot of repeated task focus, a lot of repeated situations, because we want to stabilize some skill before they try to go to a more difficult or complex class, right? But in the more intermediate to advanced, it's going to change wildly. So we don't really repeat as much, so to speak. So generally, you see repetition in classes where I'm trying to get initial skill to come. When I have some skills built, you'll see a lot of variation in task focus. Sometimes we just play generally. We don't give them one. Hey, here's where you're starting, do this thing. You know what I mean? Okay. And we can talk. I know that's we can talk more specifically after this is done. Okay. Yes, sir.
Do you encourage them, building off of that, do you encourage your advanced students to come to foundations, or would you rather not?
I'd rather them not. So in my room specifically, there is a distinct line between the players. I have a large group, the majority of my school, 2-day weekers, 3-day weekers. Then I have the guys who are 5, 6, 7-day weekers. I don't like them to touch each other because their intentions for practice are different. You know, if a 2-day weeker is trying to explore like what Jiu-Jitsu feels like, and you get one of my serious guys who really wants to work on pinning your face to the mat, it's not going to be a good experience. So for either player. So I want to give safe havens for the people who come there for the reasons they come there for. I don't want the intention of the guy who just wants to have a good time to be mixed with the intention of the guy who wants to murder his opponents. That's just not a good mix. So I like to try to separate those if I can.
Okay. Do you match people up, or do you let people?
I let people choose, but I'll intervene if things look crazy. You know what I mean? So you'll have like a young lady, 120 pounds. You'll see a dumb visitor, 220. Select her first. I stop that immediately. I don't let stuff like that happen at my gym. So I try to keep things within relative skill, relative size. I also sometimes will do psychological predisposition. So if I know a guy to be particularly passive and a big aggressive guy goes and grabs him, I'll separate that. That'll be healthy for neither of them. So you've got to know your room, you've got to know your students, and you want to protect them because they're more important than you. So whatever mechanism you use to do that, those are the ones I use. Again, partner selection, skill selection, psychological size disparity, all that stuff. Super important for a healthy environment, especially ours, because ours is intense. So we want that to be as healthy as possible at its base. Yeah.
Do you do anything to increase that passivity? Like, are there anything?
I try, yeah. Like what I really like to do is I like to connect like happy teasing with effort. This is why I tease too. It hurts a little bit, but it really doesn't. You know what I mean? I'm just an idiot talking shit. And so I like use that to like motivate them. Like, well, why are you making that face? You're just being held down. Don't be a baby. Let's go. You know what I mean? And so I just encourage. I tease, and I try to, and I do that a lot with the weaker mental people. But it seems to help. They seem to start to relax about it. You know what I mean? Like, actually, we have a guy that actually has an issue. I can't describe it. He's very nervous. Like, I'm not putting the guy out there. He cries sometimes, all right? Like, he's like, there's something wrong with him. But I talk to him often. You know what I mean? And he comes more than ever now. And I know it's hard for him. But I think because of, like, he feels happy with me teasing him. Like, I'll tease him, like, okay. But I can see that he's not, anyway. So, yeah, I try to encourage that many different ways, you know?
Can you talk about magnifying error state? I know we're like way over time here. Just like, I'm thinking about all the things that I've found that I'm screwing up.
Yeah.
Like,
so
how do I make sure that I'm like...
Magnifying errors?
Yeah, like...
I don't use that. I use CLA mostly. Okay. So, like, my whole thing is just learning how to play the game is a struggle enough. We're not at a point in our sport where we have to use some of the more complex methods to get behavior to emerge. Like I said, that's not me. Maybe somebody else in the room might use it a little bit more. Maybe Scott will have a better answer for you when it comes to error amplification, but I don't necessarily use it too much. Yep.
Have you discovered any metastable regions that surprise you?
Middle joint positioning. Elbows and knees. Yes, sir.
In your foundations class, the video that you initially posted, you had them talk about how you do guarding situations and pinning situations, and you also talked about using contextual interference.
Yeah.
How do you go about introducing that into your classes? Is that something that you're touching upon, something that you maybe covered 2-4+ weeks ago, or is that something that you're introducing novelty to something you're going to
good question. Yeah, so I made a mistake of using that word too, so Josh Peacock will come here and punch me for using contextual interference. I was trying to describe a mechanism with a word outside of the system, but I understand what you're asking. So what you're asking about is the variability present in the class to sort of offer my students novel problems to solve that they might not have answers for yet. So the way I try to introduce this to the foundational classes, I give a single situation with 3 tasks from a single situation for the first 30 minutes. This helps kind of block the practice a little bit or keep the focus centralized so they can keep solving a similar or dissimilar problems in one situation, which is essentially low in variability, right? But then when I do the second portion of the class, I will literally pull from previous lessons, right? I'll be like, okay, we're gonna work in this situation, but it's always something that they've touched on before so that they can be like, oh, we did this, you know what I mean? To kind of spark that search for what they did before. You know what I'm saying? So it will be familiar, but it might be last week, it might be a month. It just depends on where I am, what I'm doing. I know that's it depends kind of answer, but it does. 10 seconds. Yes?
Do you feel like people who come to you, like, you know, guys who are blue, purple, whatever, they have reasonable experience, they come to you and they have like a thing, like they're a particular leg locker.
Yeah.
The guy who just chases the front headlock.
Yeah.
Do they tend to struggle more than people that are like brand spanking?
Yes.
They want to go through in the air?
Massively. They already know everything, right? So you can't teach those guys. You know, they have a leg lock. Congratulations. Like I have a guy in my room who's a brown belt from another school. He won't get off his back. He does nothing but guard retention. He's almost been for a year and a half. I can't get him to do anything different. I just ignore him and leave him alone. And it's so bad that he won't even roll with the guys anymore. He just trains with the white belts and picks on the women. So we have to constantly like check this dude. He's horrible. But yeah, it's a struggle, man. If those guys, as long as they're not causing a problem, I just leave them be. But sometimes, like I have a guy like Sid, right? Sid comes in with a previous skill set, Sid Tavalaro. We try to enhance it at first. I don't want to make him feel like he has to do things my way. So I'm like, Sid, what are your skills, man? Oh, I really enjoy close guard and attacking to the shoulders with my legs. Great, let's enhance that. Let's get there a lot. Let's play with that a lot. Let's see how we can add the thing you already do holistically into what I'm trying to create. So I want to make them feel comfortable. You be yourself here, but we're going to try to make you a complete grappler. And he's wrestling and passing now, so we're really excited about that. Guys, I don't want to take more time. Thank you so much for the questions and participating this weekend. Thank you for putting up with my personality. I do truly appreciate it. Good work, guys.